Hello, my audience. So part 2 to what if Deku was Nemesis. Last time we left off, Deku had announced to all UA students, including Shoka, for them to be ready. And there will be no Nomu. Because, all for one, he knows that Deku, in his human form, is 100 times weaker. And in his human form, he's fought with all for one numerous times. And won. And has almost killed all for one. So instead of All Might giving all for one the injury, it was Deku who did. So yeah. And so Deku he rushes towards them, and it's so fast that they couldn't even blink. But Shoka, I'm going to say by some will, maybe Madara gave her the Sharingan for like 5 seconds, somehow predicted it, used ice, and it stabbed through Deku. And he says, "Good job, student." He then punches the ice and shatters it, and then the piece of ice that was still like in his chest, he ripped it out and chucked it at 13 and it was moving really, really fast. And so then yeah, 13's close to death. And so Deku, this nigga starts whining, bruh. Like, I'm gonna be honest, this man was hit a faster than Saitama, bruh. And it was just an aerial barrage. And then, like, the students with, like, ranged quirks, so, like, Mineta. And Mineta, he's not a perv in this one, because I want him and Deku to be friends. And then once Deku, maybe, goes to UA, I still haven't decided, we'll become best of friends with Kirishima. So yeah. So Deku, he grabs Shoka by the head and he gets a closer look at her and he drops her. He says, "It's been a few years, hasn't it?" And Shoka, she says, "Huh?" So, he says, "Since we last saw each other, huh?" Shoka. And she's like wondering. He's like, "Yeah, you probably won't remember me like this." And then he changes, and he's like, "Does this jog your memory a bit?" And she was just like, "Nemesis." And he says, "Hey." And everyone at UA, they were just questioning, and Ida, he perks up and he says, "Do you have ties with villains, Shoka?" And she says, "No, this was the friend that went missing a couple of years ago." And then Momo, she's like, wait, nemesis? As in T002? And Shoka, she's just like, yeah, how do you know about... And she says, my mom was the first one to start the program. And then Deku, he says, wait, Momo? Ida? Kirishima? What the... Why is it that all of you guys want to become heroes? And they all say, because we wanted to be one for you. And we thought maybe we could find you if you were still alive. And he says, well, you found me, but not in the way that you wanted me to. And then he goes back into his human form. And they see this because he's like, oh, wait, the mask is off, isn't it? And they're all like, since when could you turn into a human? And he says, since All For One gave me the ability to. I mean, even though my lifespan is twice that of a normal human, and I have immortality thanks to the way my bodily structure is, I still want to be able to have a family, you know? And then he says, cough, preferably with Shoka. And, like, Ida, he heard that, and he was like, go get her. And Deku, he heard that, and he was like, thanks. And then, like, Shoka, she had also heard, but she was just, like, dumbfounded by the entire situation. And Kirishima was just like, bruh, just come to UA. And he's just like, I'll think about it, but I at least want to fight All Might. And they're like, why do you want to fight All Might? He says, oh, because I've beaten All For One in a battle before. I want to see how their strength matches up. So, he says, alright, give me a second. He jumps up into the air and down onto, like, all the other villains. And he just starts thrashing around. Tentacle after tentacle after tentacle, my boy. What the frick? What'd I do with the picture of... What happened... What happened to my picture of second form? And if you... That was a close one. If you can't tell, that was a porn site. Anywho, well, it was hentai, but shit. If any of you want to go to there, it's nhentai.net. Yeah, have fun, my boy. But, yeah. Yes. Load. But, anywho, while we're waiting for this, he completely killed all the villains, well, all the other ones. And Shigaraki, he wasn't there. So, yeah, and if you don't know what second form looks like, it essentially looks like this. He gets the arched back legs like a dog. And he begins to look even weirder. Don't know how it's possible, but it is. Thinned form. third. Bruh, how do you... My question. Did somebody make a... Did they make a card out of that? But yeah. Essentially, it looks like this. And once All Might and all the other pro heroes get there, Deku, he's just like, hey, All Might. Other heroes, let's fight. And they're like, is he one of the villains? And Shoko, she says, no, he plans on joining UA, but he just wants to fight you all. And All Might, he was just like, but why? If he knows he is gonna loot. And like before he says that, they're like, apparently he's beaten All For One. He's like, then why isn't All For One caught? And they say because it was in training matches, and he's grateful to All For One that he gave him a human form. And All Might, he just goes, what do you mean human form? Like, what does he actually look like? And he says, oh, you want to see All Might? Alright then. Fight me! And all the other heroes, they rush down with All Might. This man, he turns into his full, or I guess like released form, I guess. So, yeah. But true form, I mean. And he just starts brawling. He's gut checking heroes right and left. Uppercut, Hadouken, bop, tentacle, slam them to the ground, throwing them, and then like one person gets one like really good hit in. I'm going to say it was Snipe, and it was 1,200 shots to the head. And then All Might, he followed up with a 100% United States of Smash. And then Bakugo, because he's the one that got one for all, he comes down and he says, you're chameleon person. Delaware. 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 Detroit Smash. Boom. Deku, he goes flying back, and like the thread and the material, it all begins to break and shred. And at that point, he screeches because he's no longer in control, because this has never happened. And he screams, and it just sounds demonic to them. And they all look from the smoke, and they just see this. And Choka, she was just like, that's never happened to him. And all the other heroes, they're continuously just trying to fight him and everything. And then they even call in more heroes. And it was only like the top 50. Now it's the top 300 heroes just going at him. Round after round after round. Shots are being fired off. People are throwing grenades, explosives. They even called in the military. And they got a hero with the strongest, Inko. Because I'm going to say she's a hero. And she's called the Force Field Hero. Protect or Telek. Who cares? Leave a hero name in the comments. But this nigga, he goes ahead and he just screams, and the military drops a nuke. She protected them all with a force field. It was on the verge of cracking, but then she created a force field around like the explosion. And so instead of like all the toxic radiation going someplace, it was just there. And Deku, his body, since it secretes radiation, it absorbed the radiation from the explosion. And so now, they all thought it was over. Deku pulls a psych, I lied. And like all of them, they were like celebrating, panting and everything. And then they hear a scream. Imagine the worst scream that you can. That just sounds overly demonic and tortured and in pain. Just imagine. Oh yeah, and by the way, I'm hopping on Xbox, so yeah, if anybody wants to play Warzone with me, then yeah. Or if you have Destiny 2, then yeah, we can play. But yeah. And so, all the heroes, they started going at him again, and just nukes, bombs, everything. Until eventually, he runs out of stamina. And Shoka, she was just crying, because she thought he had died. Nah. And so, like, everything that is this recompacts into this, but with, again, the serrated face, so you can never smile. But yeah. And so, Deku, you find he's just sleeping. And All Might was like, if I were to fight him by myself, he could have killed me. He'll be a great hero. And they were like, so, what's his name? And Shoka, Kirishima, Momo, and Ida, they all say Nemesis. And they were like, come on, that's got to not to be his real name. Come on. And they say, it has been ever since we've known him. After his mom didn't want him for what he originally looked like. And they were like, what did he originally look like? Well, he originally looked like that thing before. And they're like, the final one that we just fought? And they were like, no, the first one before the bomb was dropped. And they said, oh. And she said, but it was more grotesque. And the only word he could really say was stars. But All For One helped him, I guess. And now he has a human form and he can speak like a normal person. And Deku, he wakes up to find that All Might is giving him like a man that's like legit All Might's size plus some change, because Deku's 7'6", due to, well, the fact that Nemesis is 8 foot something. Yeah, 8 foot something. Or is he 10 foot? I cannot remember. But anywho, yeah. Let's Google this. We already know Kevin Hart's 3'7". Sorry, had to. Yeah, he's only like, what, 5'3"? Yeah. And so, I'm taller than him. But, how tall is... $13. Excuse me? That nigga's 42 feet. Oh, hell no. Nigga. Jesus Christ. I was like, there is no way that nigga's 42 feet tall. Jesus. But anywho, so at this point, Deku, he gets off of his back and he runs over to Shoka, picks her up, and says, "She is now mine. I have acquired her. Shoo, this is my prize." And like, Shoka, she was just blushing and she's like, "I'm yours." He's like, "Yes, mine." And plus, the entire reason why I got a human form was to impress you with my looks. And he notices, oh, I don't have a right arm. As he's just carrying her with his left, and he's like, let me fix that real quick. He regrows an entire right arm, fingernails and all. And he says, there we go. She says, you're strange, you know that? And he's like, yep. Anywho, let's fast forward a week to when, yeah, this is the end of this video. So yeah, but yeah, hop on Xbox, friend me, do whatever, and we can play some COD. Warzone only. Okay, I wasn't going to spend 70 some odd bucks for Cold War. I'm good. But anywho, peace.